Numbers chapter 5, verses 1 through 3. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Command the people of Israel that they put out of the camp everyone who is leprous or has a discharge, and everyone who is unclean through contact with the dead. You shall put out both male and female, putting them outside the camp, that they may not defile their camp, in the midst of which I dwell." Now there's a popular expression quoted often, and it goes this way: cleanliness is next to godliness. And while this expression is not quoted verbatim in the Bible, the precept is seen in the Old Testament in reference to the Israelite community. And we see it here in this passage, where the Lord told Moses to keep the Israelite camp clean. The command of the Lord had two significant purposes. One was on the physical side. It would be to keep disease from spreading inside the camp. The other had greater spiritual considerations. Keeping these imperfections out of the camp was a picture of maintaining purity with our infinitely holy God inside the camp. It had to do with the holiness of God's people in His presence. Now, considering this in the church, from a practical standpoint, we should use common sense when people are physically ill. During the recent pandemic, it was wise for people diagnosed with the sickness to isolate until they were not at risk for spreading the disease. And people should have the same consideration for any communicable illness at all. However, this is not the main point of this precept. The precept is that God's people are to maintain spiritual purity in the church community. Believers must stay vigilant to maintain spiritual purity, that is, holiness, in our church and personal lives, since the church and the believers are a dwelling place of God's special manifest presence. The particular difficulty is that we live in a sin-polluted world. The world system is very pervasive, and its ways are seductive. It often influences covertly. So what are the threats? Well, they're threefold: heresy, moral degradation, and worldly methodologies. We're threatened today by heresy, and there's a movement that is trying to remove the church from the foundation of God's Word. This comes in very subtly by those who attempt to interpret the Scriptures in ways that undermine the absolute truth of the entire Bible. Moral and doctrinal compromise are great issues facing the church today. And the result of this attack on the truth is to discredit the foundation and lead believers on a dangerous road. We must be vigilant to hold firm to the truth of God's Word and put false teaching out of the camp.